So we just finished watching the Inside Xbox presentation about 30 minutes ago. This, of course, was what was being touted by Microsoft and some third parties like Ubisoft as the next generation gameplay reveal for the Xbox Series X. There's just one problem. I think their definition of gameplay is a little bit different than mine and like 95% of the internet based on the like to dislike ratio on the Inside Xbox reveal that they did. They put up a video that I think just covers all of like the trailers that they played back to back, and it got hit pretty hard with dislikes. And they pulled it down, they put it back up. I'm not sure if there was a reason outside of just trying to erase the amount of dislikes that were on there because they were piling up pretty quickly. Maybe there was like a claim or something on the video. Who knows? But it certainly looks like they pulled it down to try to get rid of some of those dislikes that were piling up on their gameplay reveal trailer. So while this was certainly an unimpressive and disappointing event for a lot of people, I would say based on what was shown here, there were still some pretty neat things in this event that we'll go over. But for the most part, I think the biggest issue here is when we think of next generation, we think of visuals that will blow us away. And unfortunately, Microsoft decided to make their first impression for the Series X with a bunch of games that look like Xbox One games. Now, there was like one or two that looked next generation, but for the most part, a lot of these are like, I mean, I guess it looks a little shinier, or maybe, but a lot of these games are also going to be on the Xbox One, as we have talked about previously. That is Microsoft's strategy. It's going to be up to their first parties to really take advantage of that next generation power while also taking resources and developing for the older system. I mean, there are going to be a lot of companies, third parties specifically, and indies that develop for the larger install base and then say, oh yeah, we'll slap on some extra bells and whistles for the next generation Series X, load times, higher resolution, better frame rate, that kind of thing. But like, we won't take advantage of those features exclusively and forget about this mechanical hard drive and VCR Xbox One with DDR3 memory until we see a bigger install size on the next generation. So I do have kind of the breakdown here that was posted on Xbox's news page that goes through all of the things that they showed. I'll talk about most of them, but to be honest, some of them were kind of, I don't know, for a lot of people, forgettable. Like, a lot of these aren't necessarily going to be talked about much beyond today as people start to really look back on what was shown here. But there were some standouts and there were some frustrating moments as well. Now, the big standout to me, there were two really big games that were like visually impressive, like that I looked at and I said, okay, that looks next gen. The first one is what they led off with. I think that was a great way to lead off the overall event. The presentation was with Bright Memory Infinite. It's a good showcase for the Series X, and it's a good showcase for Unreal Engine as it appears to be built on that. But the overall look and feel of it, and the fact that it's uploaded at a 4K 60 frames per second trailer, which is giving us a lot of hope that we do see 60 frames across the board for Xbox Series X games, along with a 4K resolution, is good. I think overall, just the environment effects that were going on, kind of like they have like this chromatic look to it, but it definitely looks like a step up from what we are dealing with now with even the Xbox One X, and it looks next gen. So that is a good way to showcase a game, because you're not going to dive into the overall mechanics and other parts of the game. We're not going to see a skill tree from like the character select screen or anything. They're going to get like a minute to show us the visuals and some minor gameplay details. And they did. It looked like it was gameplay without the HUD for the most part. Did look kind of scripted, but it is at least falling in line with what we were expecting this event to be. Good visuals and gameplay. Now, the other game that looked kind of next gen, I would say, is Second Extinction. That is the game where it looks almost like it's like kind of like Left 4 Dead style game, but with mutated dinosaurs. All right, apparently it's a 3-player cooperative shooter where you do take down hordes and hordes of dinosaurs, and visually that one also had that kind of next-gen feel to it, where I looked at it and I said, okay, yeah, this looks like a game that's a step above what we've dealt with now on the Xbox One X. They showed some very large environments that seemed very, very detailed, a lot of things happening, so that's the other one that I would look at and say, yep, okay, that looks like a Series X game. But then it kind of went off the rails a bit. They showed us Dirt 5, which I know there's some Dirt fans out there that were excited to see that, but the problem we run into with these like racing games or car games, they already look really, really good on the Xbox One X and even the PlayStation 4 with Gran Turismo. It's hard to show a jump right now in visuals with these racing games. Like, we'll probably see the next Forza, right, in July from Microsoft when they have their next event, and it'll look better, but we'll kind of be like, all right, I mean, yeah, I guess it looks a little better from Forza 7 or even Horizon 4. They just already look good. So Dirt 5 shows up, pretty cool for Dirt fans, but like, I wasn't blown away by it. I said, okay, that looks like Dirt. But after that, they kind of moved away from like gameplay at all. Like, that's what I mean. The definition of gameplay from what I'm thinking when I go into one of these things and like what's being, I guess, marketed is different, I guess, because they show Madden NFL 21 and it's like, okay, sure, it's Madden, I guess. They did say that there will be the free upgrade path if you buy it. So if you get it on your Xbox One and you get a Series X maybe for Christmas or something and you already own Madden 21, you should be able to make the jump up to that for free with an upgrade. I'm not sure how that works with physical games. I assume that's covered as well. It's just going to see what you have. As long as you own the game, which means your disc is actually in the disc slot, it should then pull an upgrade path for you to then go to the Series X or who knows, maybe Lockhart. They also showed Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. There is a cult following around that game, so I'm sure people who have been waiting to hear more about this game were really, really excited. And I have to say, the game itself looked interesting. I've never really been into the vampire games, but from what they showed, it looked kind of creepy, but like this kind of, I guess, this cheery kind of environment too. It was really strange. The art style and the tone of the game, they kind of clashed together, but it was interesting enough to where I wanted to see more about this one. But it was an odd one to show alongside the Series X. But I'm sure fans of that series are really happy to see that being there for the new platform. We also had a Bandai Namco sighting with Scarlet Nexus, and when they first showed it, I had some like Astral Chain vibes to it. That might have been kind of the visual style that was pulling me in that direction, but then they showed some of the gameplay, and it appears to be kind of like an action hack and slash anime style game, but it at least looked interesting enough to keep an eye on, and I have to give Microsoft some credit here. Phil Spencer has talked about how he's been making trips to Japan to try to get more and more Japanese developers on board with the Xbox, and the fact that they keep putting them in their presentations kind of front and center shows that they are at least working in that direction. But then one of the bigger announcements from Microsoft is that Yakuza Like a Dragon is going to the Xbox Series X. In fact, it seems to have been showcased first with Microsoft. Now, Yakuza is pretty much a Sony game for the most part. It's recently gone to the Xbox, of course, through Game Pass. It was a big initiative they did, big thing that they showed off last year. But Like a Dragon is shown for the first time for Western audiences at a Microsoft event, and it's coming this holiday to coincide with the Xbox Series X launch. It is a game that if you buy on the Xbox One, you can also step up to the Series X. And what's interesting about this is Sega tweeted out about this game, and they talked about like the PlayStation 4, of course, but there was no mention of the PS5, just the Series X. I think what's going to happen here is they're waiting for the PS5 to get revealed to then announce that it is going to the PS5 with whatever step-up program Sony will have, because EA has even like kind of hinted towards there being some sort of free upgrade path for the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5. But right now, as of today, this game is announced for Microsoft's next-gen console and not Sony's. And then they closed out with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I gotta say, I was pretty disappointed with the showing for this game, mostly because there was barely any gameplay for this. As they said, they got done it, and it looked like a cinematic trailer that might have been done in-engine or something, and they were like, hey, did you enjoy the gameplay? It looked great. I was just, oh, okay. I must have missed the gameplay. Okay. It wasn't even that long of a trailer that they showed. It was like, what, 2 minutes or something? And unfortunately, we didn't see that much of the game, despite it being hyped up pretty seriously by Microsoft and Ubisoft. I thought we were going to get a slight walkthrough of a very small section of a game, maybe like a little slice of the game, 5-10 minutes of there being maybe a HUD on screen, maybe you kind of walking through a village or something to show off the game, like actually in motion. No, like none of that. I don't know. It seemed this whole event doesn't really seem like it was something that was planned out from the get-go. Almost seems like a reaction because they realized they aren't going to have anything until July for their first-party studios, and they wanted to have something out before Sony, who is most likely going to be going in the next 3 weeks or so. Probably end of May, beginning of June, you'll see a big blowout event for the PlayStation 5 with game reveals, the system itself being shown, all of that. And I think Microsoft realized that they would be going quite a while until they showed anything. So they have this event. They want to show off, they say, gameplay again for the Series X. And unfortunately, it kind of backfired a bit because Microsoft really was rolling along with their communication for the Series X, and now everyone's kind of looking at each other like, that, do we need to upgrade? And that's kind of where we are now, right? Where people are asking that question. Microsoft kind of shot themselves in the foot with this presentation. So I'm hoping that come July, when they show off things like Halo and probably Fable and probably Perfect Dark and maybe some other crazy things, whether it's the new Forza, and that could look really, really good, of course, because car games typically do. Maybe then they can get people back on track, but I don't know. This didn't seem like the event to really hype up the way they did. But let me know what you guys think about this. I left a few games out because, like I said, they weren't as impactful, really. But I'll leave a link down below to their news posting that they left up so you can go through it yourself. But let me know what you guys thought about this event down below. Make sure you like the video on the way out if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if not. And I'll see you next time.